And welcome to another episode of Three Pints of Pop, or episode 2 of Three Pints of Pop. I am Anthony Kriswitz with, once again, the talented artists known as Dan Mumford and Bailey Race. And we are here to talk about pop culture. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the band Froth for giving us the permission to use the song Postcards on the radio for the opening of this song today. So shout out to them. As I try to make something a little bit different than last time because nobody seemed to like this song.
It was special.
I dug that. They didn't. It's okay.
Yeah.
But we're here for another glass of pop culture as we discuss today the Marvel timeline. We also are going to discuss the Dr.Strange newest movies, latest movie trailers, and we're also going to be discussing what we've been watching recently and kind of wrapping that up into a nice little package. But before we do that, let's get to Bailey Race and Dan Mumford and see how they have been in different parts of the world. Bailey, how you been, brother?
I'm holding on, man. You know, things are busy. Watching a ton of movies, watching TV. 7 posters coming out next month. So, you know, kind of busy, but I'm hanging in there. How are you doing over there, Dan?
Yeah, good. Pretty standard. Just working my way through a bunch of stuff at the moment. Quite a few posters as well, actually. Like poster season is back, you know. Like I think last year was pretty barren in terms of posters for bands, and the year before, obviously. But this year, you know, I nowhere near as many as you, but you know, I've probably done 10 already, which for me is quite a lot. Because I normally sort of pepper them in. But yeah, they just keep cropping up at the moment. So I'm working my way through a bunch of those. Before I get married in about 6 weeks, I've got a wedding, and I'm going to be very busy doing that, and then disappearing for a whole month. So I'm doing all my work now so I can relax in July. Yeah, going to be very busy.
Well, Dan, yeah. I don't think either Anthony. I might be speaking for Anthony, but I don't think either of us knew that you were getting married so soon, man. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I've been with my partner for like 15 years now. So we were meant to get married last year, but COVID pushed it back. So, you know, all this sort of stuff. It's
yeah.
I'm really glad that we're finally able to do it, and people are going to be there. You know, because some people had these weddings where it's like there'd be 10 people there, and I was like, we don't want to do that. No. Anyway,
you want it to be a party. You want it to be a celebration.
Yeah, exactly. But
Dan, do you need someone to give you away? I'd be willing to walk you down the
aisle. Yeah, that'd be lovely. That'd be really nice, actually. Yeah, if you want to fly,
we can co-give you away.
That would be
2 American dads can walk you down the aisle.
And I'll even talk. I'll talk like you're. I'll give it a real good American accent as I'm going down the out of there. I'll even wear I can go all American out. I'll wear like an American flag. I'll get a mullet and cigarette in the mouth. But you know, Budweiser in a hand. We'll really give you away good.
Okay, yeah.
I'll wear a Yankees jersey and do a bad American accent.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Maybe we're coming over to LA in December, so maybe I'll just have another wedding then. We'll just have an American wedding, you know, and you guys can all come and pretend to be English or something.
100%.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool. We can swap roles.
You know,
but yeah, man, that's good.
Yes, no, it is good. It's all good.
Well, let's do a little bit of a refresher. The last time we spoke, we were all excited about the new Doctor Strange movie that was coming out right around the corner from that episode. I know all of us went on opening day. We had really high expectations, and leading up to the movie, a lot of things that were being discussed were surprise appearances, how it's going to change the timeline, how things were going to be done differently, and I think we all, you know, I'm not going to speak for you guys because you guys could change your mind, but I think we all went into the movie excited. We came out. Well, I'll talk for myself. We came out a little underwhelmed, and I think it was because our expectations were set so high based off of how the trailers were being pushed and how the movie was being pushed that I felt a little underwhelmed from the movie on the sense that it wasn't what it was sold to be. It was a good movie. I think it was a good standalone movie. I don't think it was what I was expecting it to be. Bailey, how did you feel coming out of Doctor Strange?
I mean, I definitely agree. Underwhelmed, I don't know, is the word that I would choose. I think disappointed was the word that I would put to it. Just because I saw No Way Home 7 or 8 times in theaters before it was even put on any streaming service, just because I loved that so much, and I loved kind of how they cracked the multiverse egg open and let it all pour out in that movie. And so I think I was expecting Multiverse of Madness to give me the same warm fuzzies as that, but then it just didn't really deliver. But I think in part just because they kind of gave us all of the big shock spoilers in the trailers, other than the Mr. Fantastic reveal, and what is it? The guy from Inhumans, Black Bolt. They
Black Bolt,
didn't give
yeah.
the Black Bolt reveal, and they also didn't give the Mr. Fantastic reveal in the trailer. But I think everything else was given before, and so I think being that they gave away those reveals ahead of the movie actually coming out, it almost left me hoping that it would be even further in terms of the craziness than No Way Home, and they just didn't deliver on it. They were actually under the crazy level of No Way Home, and I think that just left me with a little bit of a multiverse vacancy in my brain after seeing it, and I didn't really have any immediate push to go back and see it again like I did with No Way Home. So it wasn't necessarily, like a bad or horrible movie, but I just don't think it delivered on what I wanted it to be, and that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth for it. But Dan, where do you weigh in on it?
Yeah, I think the problem with the film was that after No Way Home, like it felt like they had to go big, right? They couldn't do a smaller movie after that, and that was unfortunately what it was. Like I think it should have kind of been a smaller film that Sam Raimi was making, or just let him go crazy, one or the other, because as it was, it just felt like a fairly neutered film. Like obviously there's loads of crazy stuff you can do in it, and this always happens with these films, but we read there was the original cut of 2 hours and 45 minutes. I feel like that's probably the film we should have got, because it would have had more room to breathe. He only really went to one other universe, and maybe sort of two. They fell through loads, but it was like, this wasn't the multiverse of madness. This was the other universe.
Verse of madness. Yeah.
And because of that, I think, I think we all sort of thought, oh wow, we're going to get so and so being some guy from that universe and this person from that universe. But really, all we had was that sort of 20 minutes in the middle where it was really fun. It was great to see those characters, especially Professor Xavier, like in his sort of classic comic cartoon look. But apart from that, it was just an okay film. Like Elizabeth Olsen was fantastic in absolutely nuts, crazy mode. I felt she was like the T-1000 in the middle, like just chasing them down, killing everyone, which I loved. But then the last third is where it kind of lost me. There were some good bits in it, but it didn't. It wasn't satisfying. Like Scarlet Witch is sort of. I think the minute you took her away from them, it lost it for me. I think
and Dan, I'm sorry to interject here, but you're telling me that within the last third of the film, you didn't love the incredibly heartwarming scene between zombie Dr. Strange and America Chavez that they 100% tried to make heartwarming in a heart-to-heart, but I was giggling throughout that entire scene every time that they cut to Zombie Strange.
So the thing is, Zombie Strange was awesome. I loved him, right? I think what's funny is the trailer made you think he was one of the bad guys, right? So that was interesting. Yeah. I thought the effects on that were fantastic, and I'm really glad that that was definitely one of those things where you could see Raimi was like, no, we're going to push this, like we're going to do that. I think it's cool. And it was really a Sam Raimi film. There was a lot of great cuts that were him, a lot of direction choices that were him clearly, which I thought was great. Man, like the end was just weird. It had a bit of an emotional punch with Scarlet Witch, but I know some monsters and some demony sort of stuff, and let me fight these spirits off so that I can become a body of this one from another universe. It kind of got a bit weird for a very weird film when I don't know. Yeah, I'm throwing lots of thoughts out there. It was not the film I think people expected it to be. And I think that anticipation and expectation probably harmed it. and I think take that away and it's an okay film. There you go.
But you know, the other
I
thing
think
too that
definitely.
the only other thing I would say too is with the ending, and it's happened with the last couple of Marvel movies, and this is where I think that I'm losing touch with them, is that we had, this movie ends where Scarlet Witch is like, oh, you kind of feel bad for her before everything happens, and then it's like she's not evil anymore. And then even in the Spider-Man movie, the way it ends, really all those villains, they're not really villains at the end because you start feeling sympathy for them because they're realizing their bad doings, and then it's like, oh, we're going back to our universe kind of fixed. And then if you go back to Eternals is like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I'm gonna go fly and kill myself into the sun. I think the one thing that these Marvel movies have been missing here recently is that they don't have a true bad guy at the ending that someone is like driving into that's getting defeated at the end. There's almost too much of a sympathy towards the end of the movies that are making you feel bad for the bad guy, and I think that's where I just want a movie like Batman where there in the Marvel here where there's a bad guy, there's a good guy, the good guy has to struggle, and at the end of the movie defeats the bad guy, good guy wins, end of story. And I don't think Marvel's delivered on that in the last couple of movies.
I think
sorry,
we just haven't gotten introduced to our next Avengers level threat really yet. I think, which we're going to get in Quantumania. We'll touch on this later. We're supposed to get, Kang the Conqueror in his full form, his full multiversal time traveling form, and we just haven't gotten that yet. And so I think Marvel right now is in the awkward teen years of their villain, just because we had Thanos. Thanos delivered really well for the Infinity Saga. And then, we have all of these odds and ends kind of juncture or threats like Anthony's talking about. I don't agree fully with the fact that, you're saying that you don't enjoy the movies because it doesn't follow the classical plot structure. I do enjoy the movies being that they have a lot more of a complex kind of timeline. And I do like the humanizing of the villains just because I think that lends itself to a more interesting story structure. But I do agree that we don't have the sense of impending doom that we got for so long when we had such a slow burn with Thanos over the course of literally 5-6 years from when he was first introduced in an after credit scene all the way up until Infinity War and Endgame. And I think introducing He Who Remains in Loki sets up Kang really well, but we have a year and a half, 2 years before he gets delivered, where Marvel, being the huge movie making machine, they're still spitting out things left and right. And I'm not saying that spitting the things out necessarily makes them bad. I just think we don't have anything to tide us over. And they introduced Thanos over the course of those 6 years in the after credit scenes. I wish we at least got that, being that, we would have that slow burn with Kang until he comes in fully in Quantumania, but we're just not getting it. We're getting something that it feels almost half baked.
I think with the TV shows as well, there's almost too much going on. And I know we're going to talk about Moon Knight in a bit, but that's a good example of one where you sort of go, okay, yeah, I get that you made this and that's great and everything, but it literally no way ties into things, which is fine. But for the last 12 years or whatever, they've been making things that do tie together into this sort of beautiful web or whatever. And I think right now we're at this place where they're making things and I've got no idea how they fit together. It's like before the puzzle was 12 pieces, right? And now they've got a puzzle of 100 pieces and that we're only being drip fed a few of them. I think the beautiful thing about the lead up to Infinity War was that you had the singular entries introducing you to the heroes with no real expectations. But now with every movie, there's this expectation, especially with No Way Home, which it's not a flawless movie, but it's pretty close, like that was one of the best things they've put out in terms of emotional heft and nostalgia and also setting up concepts, right? And also, I would say somewhat singular. You could sort of watch it and understand what's going on. It was just a very well crafted film, and I just think everything they've done since, including the TV shows, they missed the mark a bit in terms of coming together. And it's really interesting because as someone consuming this media, to me, it seems so obvious to just sort of go, oh, and you know who was behind all of that? It was Kang or something like that, right? Just something, just a little something, so that when he does crop up in Quantumania next year, is it next year?
Next spring.
Like when that finally happens, we'll go, oh, it's him. That's the guy. I mean, is he going to turn up in Thor? Probably not. You know,
I would think that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Go ahead, Anthony.
I would say that was the safest bet when you think about it. I would say that I think Thor's going to be the one that has to tie some stuff together, because if you even look back to Eternals, they had the Blade voice in, but we don't even know when Blade's coming out. Yeah. There was like these kind of small things like Harry Styles' character, like when's he coming through? So there's a lot of teases and a lot of unknown. It's just like, can we start piecing this together so it all becomes, one coherent picture, like Dan was saying, and I agree. Yeah. And listen, I get that there is a lot of like, you have to know to understand when it comes to these movies, because for people that read the comics and stuff, but for the majority of people that are going to these, they're not really comic readers. Like I pick up comics every so often, but I don't know the in-depth and all the moving pieces that make it like, oh, I know what's coming next. Like Kong the Conqueror, I don't even know who that is. Never, besides like the first time you guys introduced him to him a couple of months ago, I don't even know who the hell he is. Is he worse than Thanos? I thought Thanos was the worst thing in the world. So now I'm like,
Kang the Conqueror, yeah. I agree. They're getting into really deep cut territory here with some of the references that they're making, which is fine, for people like me who understand what's going on. But then if you have you who's more of like a casual Marvel movie fan, then, you start to miss the mark with those. And I think going off of what Dan said a little bit ago, just in terms of No Way Home not being a flawless movie, but being pretty close, and a movie that works really well as a standalone, but does tie things together. I think the last movie that we got that had that same criteria being hit was Ragnarok, just because Ragnarok as its own film, great. Everything about it aesthetically cohesive. The narrative was wonderful, but it's also like, okay, cool. Where has Hulk been? And like this sets up Thor's kind of identity issues that are going to be carried through for the rest of the Infinity Saga into, Love and Thunder, which we're about to see the culmination of Thor understanding what his role is in the greater galactic MCU. And I think because Thor, this is just kind of like, piecing together the breadcrumbs that I personally see that are getting laid around. I do think that Love and Thunder is definitely going to be our tie together movie, because it 100% pulls in aspects of the Avengers, being that we have Thor, and then we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy, which Guardians of the Galaxy, they were the ones who cracked open the galactic MCU, just being that we started seeing all the different alien planets and races and the Nova Corps and everything that's all very integral to the greater the greater MEU canon in the comic books. And then, we're also, I think, going to see the Eternals, and we're also going to see different tie-ins for them, including Harry Styles' character, Thanos' brother, just because there's no way that they're about to make a movie that's going to tie in all the galactic elements of the MEU together behind Thor and the Guardians without including the other IP that's also part of the galactic MCU. And so I think we're going to see all of that. And then we're also going to see Adam Warlock, who we know is casted, and he was teased way back at the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 post-credit scene.
That's volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to be in Guardians 3. And so I think this is a movie that's going to introduce us to him. And Thor is going to kind of understand what his identity is. And in the comics, Thor and Adam Warlock are going to be two of the most kind of compatible power levels that we're going to get out of any of the characters that are already canonized within the MCU. And so I think that we're going to get Adam Warlock as someone that's going to pose kind of an anti-hero, if not antagonist villain, aside from Gore, who I'm incredibly excited to see on screen. But we're going to get Adam Warlock introduced, which I think is going to be the character that they're going to kind of have pose a threat separate to Kang until we get Kang being the new big bad.
I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see I think the Eternals are going to come back around, maybe in Thor slightly, but probably more in Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Like that aspect, I think, is going to be in there. I would hope. Or do you think? Well, maybe they've just like dropped the Eternals, like because you haven't heard anything since that film came out. Like I thought it was fine, but it does sort of feel like it's the black sheep now. It's almost a bit like the first Incredible Hulk film. They're not going to talk about it too much, do you know?
I think that's where they're going to go with it. Unfortunately,
Dark World.
Well, yeah, they do kind of ignore that, but I think that they're going to ignore that because of the fact that it was for big fans of Marvel, they loved it. For people that were just a casual fan like myself that went in and watched it, we just were underwhelmed by it. It just was not a movie that kept our attention. My kids saw it, my kids hated it, and like. Yeah, I know that they're not trying to just market to kids, but there's a reason why if you go to Target right now or Walmart and stuff like that, all of those Eternals toys are on clearance for pennies because no one's buying them because there was no interest behind it. Disney is a product of money. That's how Mickey Mouse makes his pocket, is getting money. If Mickey's not getting money, Mickey Mouse will cut the head off of things. We've seen it in the past. I think Eternals is an example of that. Like, hey, this just didn't work. Just cut the shit at the head.
I reckon they'll roll those characters in where they're needed now. I think like they introduced them so they can just sort of be like, okay, let's just take this character and have them in whatever galactic film. So maybe it served its purpose, you know. But I just think the idea that they were this, you know, sort of these people that have been throughout time shaping things, and it was just sort of like, maybe we don't go down that route. Just like be a little bit more. It wasn't quite the epic that I think they thought it was going to be, because you could kind of see that being a huge thing if it was done well,
correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't done badly. It just missed the mark for a Marvel film, I think.
Yeah. And I definitely think if they are going to bring any characters in just in terms of the name recognition, I think we're definitely going to see Kumail Nanjiani come up again, especially being that he is consistently now getting bigger and bigger roles that are within, you know, Marvel, Star Wars, all of the big franchises. So I definitely think it would be wise for them to continue with his character, as well as bringing in, Selma Hayek again, just being that we found out that all of those Eternals are one of many of the same kind of avatar for that character. I definitely think that it's very easy for them to be like, okay, yes, that one died, but there is another one on another planet that, you know, so they have a lot of room to kind of expand out from the characters that they've already introduced in Eternals without really needing to explain how they came back because they already laid that groundwork. But I definitely am interested in seeing where, God, I can't remember his name, but Harry Styles' character, Thanos' brother, I'm very interested to see where that goes, just because that the kind of lore and canon as to how Thanos came to exist and his family being part deviant and part eternal, I'm definitely interested to see how they explore that. So
I 100% could not take him seriously when he turned up on screen though. I thought he looked so silly. I was just like, I know he's an okay actor. I've seen him in like the 2 films he's done or whatever, but it was just sort of like, I don't know. I know he's meant to be Thanos' brother for whatever reason, you know, but it just seemed really silly. Talking of silly things, actually, the end of Doctor Strange, when Charlize Theron turns up in some sort of purple spangly suit, and it was just like, okay, look, you guys do this stuff really well, but this is not one of those moments. It was just so weird.
Well, you know who that is, right?
Well, the funny thing was, the theater I was in,
your wife or something.
In the movie I was in, I literally saw, which was sold out, I literally saw everybody grab their phone, go to Google, and try to figure out who the hell. Nobody in my theater knew who the hell she was.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't either, and no one in my theater did either, but I looked into it, and she is an incredibly deep-cut Doctor Strange character, but she also is one of the only other love interests to Doctor Strange other than Christine Palmer, and she's also Dormammu from the first Doctor Strange movie. It's his niece.
What?
Yeah, it's very strange. She is.
Wait a minute.
She's the sorceress.
It's so
Yeah.
stupid
So listen to this.
sometimes.
She's the sorcerer.
Incest?
She's the Anthony. No, she's the sorcerer supreme of the dark dimension.
But she's Doctor
And
Strange's
so the dark
niece.
dimension is the one. No, Dormammu.
Oh.
No, the giant demon from the first film.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sort of-
Got it.
Yeah,
somehow
It's
somehow
Dormammu's
his
niece.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she's the sorcerer supreme of the dark dimension.
See, right, this is where I think Marvel is starting to lose the plot a little bit, because that's cool, great. And do you know what they do really well? They do introduce characters that no one really cares about, and they do great stuff with them. But I think they are not doing that anymore. I sort of feel like they just need to focus a little bit, and they're gonna, and that's what happened with the Eternals. I think they thought this is going to be our next big team, but the Eternals have never been huge in the comics either. They're important, but they're not like massive sellers or anything. And I just think they've really thrown everything out there now, even to the point where the minor characters they're introducing, you've got people that do read the comics going, who? Like, just give us Blade, right? They're
That's
doing
right.
that.
Yeah.
But just focus on that. Do that quicker. Give us the Fantastic Four. Do that quicker. Don't worry too much. And look, I will enjoy the She-Hulk TV show, but I wasn't asking for that necessarily. Do you know what I mean?
I'm so excited for the She-Hulk TV show.
It will be really fun.
I'm so excited.
I know it will be fun.
I mean, we're getting the original Tim Roth Abomination, but he's more comic accurate. But we're getting Tim Roth as Abomination, man. That's so cool.
I just think I have a feeling perhaps as well COVID did affect them more than they will let you know. You know, they don't want to they don't want you to think that the machine stops, but it definitely does.
It stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading something today where they were saying how the Russo brothers, they had mentioned they wanted to do Secret Wars as an Avengers film, which is a huge story, very cosmic,
that's why
crazy stuff.
I was about to bring Secret Wars up in a second. So
because the idea was it was meant to come out in 2024, I think. Like that was literally, it's not been confirmed, but I think that was supposed to be what it was. And then someone said, that stuff's not going to happen anymore because they're just way behind. And I think the TV shows are possibly smaller productions, which is why we're getting more of those at the moment. And also they were probably started production before COVID properly. It's all speculation. It just feels like the bigger things are having to take longer. And maybe that's not a bad thing. I think where they had such a tight hold on things before, and it felt like nothing missed. Even Ant-Man didn't miss. You know, it was 6 out of 10, but it was still a fun film that made sense and added. You know, Ant-Man was so important essentially to Endgame. Everything, there's a lot going on there that was really important. And it's Ant-Man.
You mean when Thanos was on the ground face down and Ant-Man shrunk down and flew right into, the way that Endgame ended. But we can touch on Secret Wars real quick, and then we can kind of loop over to something other than Marvel, just being that we're about halfway through the episode right now.
Well, we do need to talk about Moon Knight. We do.
Okay, so we'll talk about this real quick, and then I was just going to say,
talk about Moon Knight, Governor.
We bloody need to talk about Moon Knight, ladies, alligators. But definitely, before we talk about Moon Knight, I'm predicting the future right now. Anthony is going to be so angry after Secret Wars comes out, because Secret Wars is supposed to be which characters from the last 15 years have actually been Skrulls, because they've been on Earth since the 90s. And I know Anthony is going to be like, I'm so fucking pissed. I was just so lost. I couldn't follow it, like freaking Tony Stark was a Skrull, man. I don't fucking know. So I'm predicting right now that that's going to be the case. But me being someone that knows Secret Wars, and Dan, you being someone that knows Secret Wars, I know you and I are probably going to be like, losing our shit over here in the best way possible watching that. Just being that Secret Wars is a massive event. And so it's going to be great to see that finally roll out in live action. But I already know right now Anthony's going to be so pissed at the way that show rolls out. But tying back to Moon Knight, we're not going to leave any room for Anthony to defend himself there. Back to Moon Knight.
I want I want Anthony to start with Moon Knight because he did not like it at all.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So I watched Moon Knight not knowing what it was. And I watched it, and halfway through I was like, I don't know why I'm continuing to watch it because it is literally makes no sense. It is some of the worst acting I've seen in a Marvel movie. This is boring as shit. And then when it ended, I was even more frustrated. I really, really was so aggravated that I wasted my time on this fucking show. It is god awful. I would rather watch Eternals, like Lord of the Rings style, like for 8 hours straight on a fucking loop, than watch one more episode of that god awful, makes no sense, doesn't tie into anything, Moon Knight dog shit. That's all.
Okay, so first of all,
what's your score?
Moon Knight's
like,
not intended to tie in.
Oh! If you wanted a score for Moon Knight, the official
Jesus.
scoring is 0.
You're not allowed to go negative.
0.66724.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Cool.
All right. And so let me start off by saying that Moon Knight's not meant to tie in to anything in the MCU, Anthony, at all. It's meant to be its own little standalone adventure.
It probably should.
It probably should. But being how great Solo was, not tying into the actual Star Wars canon.
Oh, yeah, did so well.
You know, this is fantastic. Moon Knight. So I will say, though, going back to, I did enjoy Moon Knight personally, just because I really liked the character in the comics, and I liked how visually true they stayed to a lot of the comic accurate features and a lot of the comic accurate characters. I do like how they gender swapped and made the Scarlet Scarab an actual hero versus being the villain of the Invaders comic arc. And I did like the visual effects of it. Ethan Hawke's portrayal of the cult leader was fine. I think Oscar Isaac's British accent was one of the greatest British accents in history. Even better than our own Dan Mumford's, being that Dan is actually from Detroit and just puts on a British accent whenever he talks about anything on the show. And then I was mad because they waited until the last episode to introduce Jake Lockley, being that throughout the entire season, they teased that there was a third personality in there the entire time, and no one talked about it. No one brought it up, but that is just my 2 cents. I would give the show a 6.2 out of 10 personally. But I think I'm giving it probably the highest rating out of all of us. So Dan, I'm very interested to see what you think about it.
I'm definitely in between you guys. Yeah. Cause I kind of thought it was a bit rubbish. But there were elements to it that were enjoyable. I think it felt totally separate from the Marvel films, which some would say is a good thing. I feel like this would have actually benefited from having something to tie it in, something to at least sort of make you go, oh, okay. I think the first 2 to 3 episodes were really good. Not really knowing what was going on was really good. Like, you know, the mystery of sort of, and him sort of blacking out and stuff. And I don't know much about the comics. Like, I know the character a little bit, but I don't know much about them. I don't know. I mean, you can tell me after I've finished here, but like, I don't know if he was a great representation of the comic, really. But I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a bit more violent and a bit more crazy, as far as what I know. And I just kind of felt it fell flat. Like, there was individual episodes were really good. I quite liked sort of the one where they were having a bit of an adventure in the 5th episode, like going through some tombs and stuff. But it was just weird, man. It felt totally disjointed. And then also the fact that they were like, oh, no, we're probably not going to do another series. I think this is the last one. It's like, really? That's the last one? And that's how you're going to end it? Like, I don't think so. And also, like, how is any of this going to tie in at all? I know it's meant to be standalone, but it can't be standalone because they have to at least address the fact that there were some giant Egyptian gods fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just weird. And I thought to have someone like Oscar Isaac do that, and that's his one shot at being a Marvel hero. Do you know what I mean? And he was good. He's really good. The accent, well, So I found his accent endearing, and I would say 70% of the time I would have believed he was possibly someone who was English with a I couldn't place that accent. I think it's meant to be sort of London, but it's not. It's one of those things where like every fifth or sixth sentence he would say something where it totally slipped, and I was like, well, that's not right at all. But only someone who's from England would probably realize. Do you know what I mean? So really, it was probably quite a good accent. Yes. Yeah, yes, over there in the back.
So, I agree. The accent, I think, in terms of just like listening to it, being someone from America, but having, talked to you a number of times, and also, watching movies and TV with actual English actors in them, I think the accent was done perfectly in the context that the character is based on a pulp Indiana Jones style movie where it's an American actor doing an English accent for that pulp movie. And so
such a deep way of doing it, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, so if that gives you more of an appreciation for that accent, that's why I think I was able to go through it without being like, oh, this is fucking awful, like this is such a bad act. Because I know so many people had an issue with his accent in the show. Like that was one of the biggest, we're going to tear it apart. It's not awful, but it's not great. But also, it's just kind of like, it's not believable.
But also you got to sort of go, yeah, but he is an American man with multiple personality disorder. So yeah, his accent probably would be really weird. Do you know what I mean? Like he's adopted this accent. He is an American. So you can get away with it like that. And it did not stop my enjoyment at all. And actually the moments where he was flicking between the two, he did it so well. He's a great actor. I haven't, apart from Star Wars, I've not really seen him in too much, but he is very good. And
he's very good in Deus Ex Machina, the A24 movie.
Yes. Oh God, he is good in that. Yeah. And he's good in Dune as well. Like he's a good actor with a wonderful beard. Very jealous of his beard. So
just leave it there. Well, first of all, you gotta give us your official ranking. What's your score on?
My dog's just given me a bone, so I'll give it 1 bone out of 2.
So you give it a 5 out of 10.
Right. Yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10 because it was entertaining. Okay. Also, I'd say mercifully short.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that?
Like six episodes was right for that. I think 2 more would have made. No, it was slow enough as it was. So it was fine. Yeah.
So
Secret Wars is going to be 12 episodes, which is the longest Disney Plus show. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah.
So just to give some statistics on it, when the episode 1 came out, 852 million views were done the week for Moon Knight, the first episode. When the season finale of Moon Knight came on, it dropped almost in half to 418 million, which was the most substantial drop in viewership for a season finale for a show on Disney in the history of Disney Plus.
I believe it. I think it probably
3 years.
But it probably lost a lot of people because I think a lot of people probably watched it thinking, "Oh, we're going to get a new superhero. He's got this cool outfit, and he's barely in it." Not that it should be about him being in an outfit, but it's not that at all.
Sure.
Right.
Do you know what? I will say the Mr. Knight, whatever he's called, whenever he's in the other suit.
Mr. Knight.
That. Yeah, that was great. I did like that a lot.
Really fantastic character design.
There's some great stuff in there. I don't think it was handled very well at all. And I think just Ethan Hawke, a bit wasted as well. Just two fantastic actors, probably 2 of the best they could get for this. And I just think it really underdelivered in terms of an actual plot and script.
All right. Well, we're going to take this journey and we're going to make a hard left turn and we're going to discuss something else. Because as we get off the Marvel topic and go into something that kind of ties in Marvel, but doesn't. Last time we spoke about, hey, Avatar trailer's coming out. We're going to be excited about seeing this. And I had just came back from Disney World, went on the Avatar World ride. I was hyped up. I saw the trailer. I was confused. I went back and watched the movie and remembered very quickly why I hated Avatar, the original movie, and why this movie has me not excited at all. Because how the hell are you going to be able to top the graphics that are coming out nowadays and be groundbreaking, Mr. Cameron, when also the movie also came out how many years ago, and now you want to give us this whole other universe of characters that no one really cares about? Well, let me stop by saying that this is probably Bailey saying that this is his favorite series of all time, and this is the greatest series of all time, and all the actors in this movie are phenomenal, and he loves it so much. So,
no.
But no, the trailer was underwhelming, and I could have cared less about it. And to be honest with you, there was no excitement in my theater at all for the Avatar trailer. Dan, how about you?
People were laughing in mine.
Oh yes, same here.
People were literally laughing at the trailer as it was rolling out.
See, I think that's too far. Like, Avatar's fine, okay? It's by no means James Cameron's best film, and I think it was overrated at the time just because it was all 3D and all that stuff. But Avatar's fine. I think the character design of the Na'vi, is just bad. And I think to base a whole film around that is bad. And the idea that he's got 4 more of these planned is just, it's okay. And I believe that he can do some good stuff with that. I don't think anyone cares now. It's just weird to wait. I think it's about 15 years to wait that long is kind of mad.
The first one came out in 2009. And it came in 2009, and it was a groundbreaking achievement where it made $2 billion. Okay? Phenomenal at that point. Instead of trying to get the movies to come out in a sequence that makes sense, this one comes out December 16th, 2022. The next one comes out December 20th, 2024. This next one comes out December 18th, 2026. And the final one comes out December 22nd, 2028. So literally
2 years.
2 years apart from each one.
Every 2 years.
So I just want to put this out there. If you were, let's say, all right, so I'm 36 now. So the first one came out, 37, I forgot. I'm 37 now. So how old was I in 2009?
23.
Thank you. So it's 23 then. So then by the time this shit's over, I'm going to be well into my 40s. Like, there are people that probably saw the first one who loved it who are going to be dead by the time the last one comes out. Like, they're going to, like, it makes no sense.
That was so dark. Oh my God. Jesus. Okay, yeah. Well, okay. We're going to stop talking about Avatar now because we're moving into the conversation of mortality. So, going into another topic of discussion that is slightly similar but still different. Still Disney, but going into things that we've seen recently. 2 things that have come out on Disney Plus within the last week. Obi-Wan and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, both of which I absolutely am floored by and have watched both of them numerous times within the time span that they've come out.
I've not seen either yet.
Me either. Sorry.
Chip 'n Dale. Okay, let me just say, do you just ding me?
No, I dinged a fail.
You dinged a fail?
Yeah.
So wait.
I didn't do my homework on those.
Is that a thing you're gonna press the dinger whenever we've done something wrong?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, I like that.
It's a demerit system. Jeez, I don't like that because I'm gonna be talking and Anthony's just gonna be over there. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Look at that. So, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers is essentially a modern remake of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
and it's a very exciting, very well done kind of young. It's like a younger brother to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the original Robert Rabbit makes a cameo. Animated original voice actor and all.
Spoiler alert!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That is a loud ding. Yeah, that stopped us all in our tracks. Well done.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, yeah. So, and then Obi-Wan, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say it is phenomenal. It is way better than any other kind of like standalone Star Wars media that we've gotten outside of the movie sagas, apart from episode 8 and 9. But I do definitely think that this is going to go down as just as popular of a Star Wars TV show as Clone Wars did. And we all know how beloved Clone Wars is. So that's just me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
very much.
I think I may. Oh, go on.
I was just going to say Bad Batch Season 2 was also just announced, which is going to be really interesting because Bad Batch tied a really nice little bow up on the Clone Saga.
Yeah, see, I've always kind of wanted to watch some of those, but I've actually never bothered because it's the sort of thing where I think I might put it on in the background because I know it's meant to be very good and enjoyable, but I just not got around to that stuff. There's just not enough time in the day.
It's incredible, man.
Especially
with the way Disney
does
Clone Wars and Rebels.
The way they do these universes, like you have to be. It's hard to be locked into all of them. I mean, because. You think about it, if you're into Star Wars, they have all these different shows and books and movies and games and this. To get tied up into all that, then it's like, oh, here's Marvel with all these different things as well, and then you got like Avatar, I suppose, or whatever. You got all these different things. It's tough to go 100% into all of them because there's not enough time in the day.
Do you know what? I just cannot get enough of the Avatar world. If I'm not rewatching the film, I'm reading the comics, I'm reading the books, I'm reading the novelization. Okay, I won't watch anymore.
Let me say the Demerit Bell system is my favorite series of all time. Let me tell you that right now. And also another thing that's come out recently that is absolutely phenomenal is season 4 of Stranger Things. Let me tell you,
Swear to God, I will ring the shit out of this. If you spoil anything, I'm watching it tonight. I will ring.
I'm not going to spoil it at all. All I'm going to say is this is the best the series has ever been, and it is so unfortunate that season 4 is the last season that they're putting out. Because
that is incorrect.
I'm gonna. No, there's not. They're wrapping it up with season 4. They said that they're ending it on season 4. I hope there's one more because this is the best that Stranger Things has ever been. And let me tell you, I am halfway through episode 6 and I'm watching episode 7 today, which is the end of part 1 of season 4. And then there's episode 8 and 9. I want more of this show, and it is scary. It is creepy. It is very much like a thriller put into like an 80s sci-fi TV show, and I wish seasons 1 through 3 had just a sliver of the creepiness that this season has, because it is flawless. It is so good. Nice.
So,
and I'm very excited. Episode 8 is 2.5 hours long. So
yeah. So February 2002, the Duffer Brothers wrote a letter to its top fans, and in the letter it says, 7 years ago, we planned out the story arc of Stranger Things. At that time, we predicted the story would go to at least 4 or 5 seasons. We have created and wrote scripts for 5 seasons altogether. 5th season will start filming in October of 2022.
There you go.
Okay.
That is
that was a recent article that came out?
Yes, this is coming. This is from myimperfectlife.com. That's a really fucked up name. Myimperfectlife.com, but it has
a reputable source.
No, I'm pretty sure that I read the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I read 4 seasons, but if it is 5 seasons, I'm very happy, and I really, really hope that they continue the trend of how season 4 is going to round it out.
Well,
because
weirdly,
season 3 really jumped the shark.
People.com also say it as well.
I thought the 3rd season was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought the first series was fine, and it did what it did. The second series I thought was trash, and the 3rd season was fun. And I kind of feel like I think when they take themselves too seriously, it's a bit bad.
Yeah.
Like they should just have fun with it, and the 3rd one did. So who knows what I'll think of the 4th one.
Season 4, without giving any spoilers at all, has 4 concurrent storylines all happening at the same time, and it is one of the best ways that I've ever seen something like that executed in film or TV, because you can definitely you can lose it very easily if you have so many things going on in so many different places at the same time. But the way that they randomly jump between the stories keeps you so actively engaged and it makes you continuously want to know what happens next. But each cut to each story is so exciting that you're not left wanting to be cut back to the other story because you're already rapidly engaged with what's going on in front of you.
Yeah. Okay. I look forward to watching it. Yeah.
Well, maybe that will be
It's
the
really
theme.
fantastic.
Our theme for our next show. We will subtract ourselves completely from Marvel for an episode, because I seem like that's what it's been like for a while, and we will go dig deep into Stranger Things.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because I will say that I thought, because go ahead, brother.
Anthony, I'm the Marvel guy on the show. Am I getting fired for an episode?
Dan, do you want to bring in? Why don't we call some of your friends? Why don't we replace Bailey for a little bit?
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
What? No. Who else have you got on the wall there behind you? I'm sure one of them would be up for coming on.
Let's see. We got. I can call Clausen. I can text him. What about? Let's see who else. Who else do I have on here?
They don't know Marvel. They don't know Marvel like I do.
Actually,
I've already seen Stranger Things.
You do know Justin Hampton, who did this for Pearl Jam 20. He actually drew for Marvel and did Marvel Comics for a bit. I bet you he'd have some insight on some Marvel stuff.
Stop.
No, I think actually She-Hulk comes out when?
Soon, I think.
Soon. Miss Marvel comes out next week. Miss Marvel episode 1 airs next week, which I'm worried about that show, being that they're entirely changing the canon of how Miss Marvel came to be for this show. It's not accurate to the comics at all. And Kevin Feige has, he's addressed it. He said, well, Miss Marvel works really well in the comics for the comics, but her comic canon doesn't work for the way that we're taking the MCU, and so we changed it. And so I'm worried about that statement as a whole.
How does she get her powers in the comics?
In the comics, she gets them from Terrigen Mist, which changes her full DNA and makes her essentially an Inhuman. Just because the way the Inhumans get their powers from Terrigen Mist as well, and they want to take things so far from Inhumans because it bombed so hard for the TV show that they completely rewrote it, and they gave her these weird scientific mystical gauntlets that generate hands out of energy because that in the comics she stretches, and we've talked about this, with her being really close to Mr. Fantastic and them not really knowing how to do those powers properly. It bums me out that they completely recanonized her powers, being that she creates hard light squares to run on and can fly and creates hard light fists and grows her body that way. When in the comics, she straight up became an Inhuman mutant, and I just really wish we would stick closer to that rather than try and create this entire new lore around these gauntlets.
Yeah, but the world of the films doesn't have any of that stuff in it, so it wouldn't make sense, would it?
No.
Yeah.
No. So, and then they're actually, I think Disney is putting out June 1st. It's called A Fan's Guide to Miss Marvel, where it is an episode learning about Miss Marvel before the show actually comes out. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Or
it's tomorrow, June 1st?
No, Wednesday is.
I thought Wednesday was.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
What is today? Monday? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm still confused where I'm at half the time.
So close.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's all good, but
yeah, it's okay. It's an A for effort. It's the same A for effort that we gave Dan for his American accent before the show started.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Well, listen, I'm looking at next month's schedule. Okay, because I'm thinking. So the last episode of Obi-Wan comes out June 22nd. We'll have the third episode of Miss Marvel comes out June 22nd, and a couple other things are coming out. So we'll have enough time if we want to talk about those two shows and also Stranger Things. Would you guys want to do a show on June 24th, a Friday?
That may work.
All right.
So, yeah.
So I'll get that going. So we'll call this a stranger date for us for Stranger Things.
Okay. Wow, that happened.
I'm not going to call it that.
I'm not going to call it that either.
No, I'm just going to call it.
Yeah, you keep your hand away from that fucking bell, Anthony.
You know what? I'm going to start putting it front and center too. How that? right here, so you know exactly when it's coming. I'll move my Jermaine Rogers right there.
I think that's a good idea.
I swear to God, I'll buy an air horn so fucking fast to roll against that goddamn bell.
Oh God! But yeah, so is there
our viewers and listeners will suffer for it?
Oh, and then also don't forget, it comes out next week, Jurassic Park, the new one, the end of the series.
Yep. I'm going to a double feature where they're doing a digitally remastered OG Jurassic Park before Dominion. I'm very excited about it.
I think weirdly, this is out of all three of the Jurassic World films, this is the one that most people are probably excited for because it's got the original cast in it. Whereas the first Jurassic World, fine. The second one, better, maybe. I liked the sort of stuff in the house at the end. That was fun. But just they've not really had much personality. So the promise of this one, which is the dinosaurs are just out in the world, is fantastic. And that's
what has me the most excited about it.
I really hope they do that properly because they teased it before. I think it was Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, where the T-Rex is out in the city or whatever.
Yes,
and it's on like Ellis Island.
Yeah, and I was like, this is great. Do more of this. And then they did the Lost World, the third one. Oh, Jurassic Park 3. That was what it was called.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought Jurassic World was going to go this way quicker and not take 3 films to do that. So I really hope they do this well because it's the franchise to do it, and I think it'd be really fun. And if they don't, someone else will do it. Someone else will just do dinosaurs roaming around the world, because that's a good concept that would be fun. A lot of high hopes.
And I will say now, we did get some of it in Lost World, but now given the technology for CGI and how real we can make things look, given the budget, I think that this, even if Jurassic Park did this years and years ago, I don't think it would have been able to be 100% done to its best of its ability, showing like tight motorcycle chases through like Parisian streets with velociraptors chasing and jumping over, Chris Pratt or whoever. But given how good we can make CGI look now, I think that we're going to see these amazing chase sequences with tons of velociraptors flipping over tables and jumping through windows and, just releasing absolute havoc on the city and just seeing it all kind of unfold in various points around the world. So I'm really stoked about it. And I have not seen the original Jurassic Park in theaters. So I'm very excited to see the original Jurassic Park in theaters.
Yeah, because you weren't even born then.
The OG Jurassic Park came out in 95, I think. So 2 years before me.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
Okay, I think we just got to end the podcast there because that makes me feel physically sick.
It came out 93. 93 is when it came out.
93.
Good.
So I was -4. And being that I was an accident, my parents didn't even know that I was going to be born yet. So
well, and then that's the only big movie coming out in June before our show, because on June 24th you have the Elvis movie and the Black Phone movie, which I think the Black Phone movie is going to be one of the top movies of the year. I'm very excited about that.
That looks great.
And then we have Love and Thunder.
That comes out next
in early July.
Early July, correct. So, but we're only talking about June now, Bailey. We're only talking about June.
Yeah, sorry.
July.
So speaking of June, Dan, do you have anything that you're looking forward to for June that you want the people to know about?
No, I don't, because I'm getting married in July.
Okay.
Fail, Bailey.
Well, I didn't know if he has things that he's done.
If anyone wants to sort of come to my wedding, it's in July, so I'll see you there.
Okay. Well,
so are you registered anywhere? Where should we buy stuff and send it to you?
danmumford.com. Just my store. Just buy that stuff and send it to yourselves so I can have money. That's it.
I love it. I almost want to clip that into a commercial for danmumford.com. Go to my website, buy my stuff, send it to you. I get mine. danmumford.com.
That's basically how me and Bailey make most of our money. So yeah,
like 95% of our income comes from our stores.
Go get something from Bailey's store as well. Make us happy. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then if you just want to send me money, I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
sure.
I will say though, I have 7 posters coming out in June that I'm very excited about, and so people should really watch and look and see if there's anything coming out that they're into, just because.
You know what that means? That means when we record at the end of June, you're going to have like gold glasses and rings all over.
if he should come out like Rocket Man, like with the star glasses and like the really flamingo kind of like, rhinestone outfit, I would fucking pay. I
look
would
like Taron Egerton at the start of Rocket Man.
I've had a great month, guys.
It'd be funny. It'd be like it's like the show starts. He's off camera. He comes in like really slowly, sits down like he doesn't even need to be here. Like a cigar in his mouth. What do you want, guys? Like, what are we doing?
Well, I won't because we're not talking about Marvel.
So
I won't need to be here.
Marvel. What's that?
But I will say, 3 of them are for bands that I've never worked with before, and one of them is one of the biggest artists of all time.
Ooh.
So, yeah. So I'm very excited about it.
Oh
no,
my God.
I did turn down a Madonna poster a couple years ago, though.
You're doing Madonna, Bailey?
No,
right.
no.
Oh my! This is amazing. When is she playing next? Madonna.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Would that be a good poster to do? I guess it probably would.
I no, they don't pay well. That's why I turned them down a couple years ago. They offered me Jack Diddley squat.
I've had a couple of jobs like that where it's a huge artist, and they're sort of like, "We'll pay you $300, and that's it."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why would I do that? That's not good.
Because you get exposure, and then they just don't even post it to their Instagram.
Yeah. No, exactly right.
To the 1.7 million followers.
Yeah. Well, good for them. Madonna's not touring, so I guess we are unfortunately wrong about Bailey doing Madonna. But you know who is touring? Cher. Are you doing a Cher print, Bailey? Let me check out Cher's tour dates.
No.
Cher tour.
I'm doing a poster for Dave Bautista.
And on that note, I am very much looking forward to the next episode. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, a couple quick things we didn't talk about. They did hint this upcoming week when they do the Ghostbuster Fest that there is going to be a sequel made to the last one, which is exciting. So I'm excited about that.
I still haven't seen the new Ghostbusters.
Come on, you've got time for that.
I know. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's fun.
Yeah, I've only watched it
I'll
like
watch it.
17 times, guys. Like, it's the most amazing show on Disney Plus, but I got no time for Ghostbusters. Fail. That's my Bailey.
Okay, so Anthony, continue.
Oh yeah, so that big announcement, and then also a buddy of mine who works over at Fox said Fox is going to be announcing a convention coming out this fall with a huge announcement about a revitalization of a very famous movie series. So I'm not sure what it is, but he said we'd be excited about it. So that's an exclusive. So you can take that to the bank.
From Fox?
Yeah, Fox.
So,
yeah, Fox license.
Aliens or Predator, that's it.
Yeah.
They tried to reboot Aliens with Prometheus, and that didn't go well.
I love Prometheus.
It's not going to be Aliens.
Love Prometheus. I thought that was fantastic. And did they make a sequel to it too?
Alien Covenant, not very good.
No.
Yeah.
Prometheus was phenomenal though.
I thought if they'd done Prometheus 2, that would have been good. Like they should have just carried it.
Prometheus should have been standalone, and then they should have created a series out of that.
This is a whole other podcast, but I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about Aliens. It's probably my favorite franchise.
Yeah.
There was the Prey trailer. Did you see that? It's like 1 minute for the Predator sequel.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like I wonder how that's gonna work. I don't know.
I think it'll be the original Predator but set in the past. That's it, really. I think it'll be fine.
It'll be good.
And we're getting a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, the game, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, that is a good game.
Oh, I'm very excited to say I have been playing video games, but I've only done it because the game came out that I've waited years for, and it is fantastic. But I don't ever turn my Xbox on, but I've turned it on recently for one game that came out. Do you know what that is?
I can't. No, I don't know what it is.
The Skywalker Saga,
based off a very famous horror movie. The new Evil Dead game is absolutely.
I could not have guessed that in a million years.
I wouldn't have guessed it either.
Well, first, Evil Dead is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Love Evil Dead. This game is fantastic.
What is it?
So it's you literally you can play as 4 iconic Evil Dead characters.
You go more than 4 iconic Evil Dead characters.
Okay, so you can play them more as. You can play. It's similar to Dead by Daylight. Dan.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah.
It's a similar concept to Dead by Daylight, but there is a narrative-driven horror game that's coming out within the next couple of weeks called The Quarry. That is a huge cast, and it has 128 individual endings based on your decisions that you make throughout the entire game, which is absurd.
A choose-your-own-adventure novel. That's my sort of thing. Like that.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to play that game so many times and have completely different storylines.
That's
being that if there's 128 different endings and story branches, there's just going to be an absurd amount of choices that you can make throughout the game. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So go buy Evil Dead. That was my whole that was the if you like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I am going to put up this little fun thing right there. I'm going to hit this and say thank you for tuning in, and we will be back at the end of June where we discuss Stranger Things. What else? Miss Marvel,
Obi-Wan.
And Obi-Wan.
There you go. Hit the music.
Beautiful.
It's gonna be June.
You know what?
Oh, no.
No!
Until next time, guys, I'm Anthony.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.